Welcome to the Under Construction Podcast with me, Martin Williams. Here we talk about how to build or rebuild your life one step at a time. Let's get to work. And thank you for tuning in to the Under Construction Podcast. My name is Martin Williams. Don't forget to subscribe to the podcast. You may do so on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, and SoundCloud. All the links to the podcast can be found at guidedexpressions.com/podcast with an S. Today, what I wanted to discuss with you is mental programming. And it is a direction that I'm taking my business, taking this movement called Guided Expressions. And I'm very excited to share it with the world and share with you what I have learned about this fascinating subject. I've always been fascinated with the mind. I've always been interested in how the mind works. I've always been very excited about the prospect of studying the mind and studying all the inner workings of why we do what we do and why we think what we think and all of those things. And so, I've read a lot of personal development books. I've read some books on metaphysics. I read some books on psychology. I've also studied the Bible. And all of those things basically connect and paint. They connect with one another, but they also paint a consistent picture. And that is, we become what we think about. And we become what we think about not so much in the totality of our thoughts as far as the content of our thoughts, but really more to the point is how we think is what we become. It's important that we pay attention to what's in our minds and really paying attention to how we think. If you don't think in an orderly way, you are going to be more susceptible to disorder or more susceptible to a chaotic life or chaotic living. And I know this firsthand because even though I've read all those things, nothing's really taught me more about my mind than my own personal experience. So I'm going to share with you kind of a brief overview of my life and really kind of help you understand how I came to this and how it's helped me thus far. So growing up, I was always someone who liked knowledge. I liked learning, but I didn't really like school, right? I wasn't a fan of school. And, I wasn't really a fan of order. I didn't like people telling me what to do. I didn't listen to direction very well. I didn't take direction very well because I felt like I should be doing my own thing and I don't need anybody to tell me what to do. And you can imagine that kind of made my life harder than it needed to be. Because I was kind of like a quiet rebel. I wasn't a rebel that, made a huge stand or anything like that, but I just decided I wasn't going to do what I was told. And it didn't really help me throughout much of my life. And so when I finally began to turn my life around, I really started to see the wisdom of order and the wisdom of thinking differently. It wasn't so much that people were trying to tell me what to do. It's just that people were enlightening me to the path to greater success. And, because it wasn't something that I had thought about, I didn't think it was worth following, right? So it set me back for a while. We've all heard the same things, right? Work hard, save your money, eat right, exercise every day, all of these things. And all of these things are good things. But if you are someone that never really grew up doing those things, when you become an adult, one of the great benefits of becoming an adult is that you can do things your own way. You can stay up as long as you want. You can go to bed when you want. You can, have ice cream for dinner if you want. You know what I mean? Like, you can do whatever you want. Now, obviously, with all that freedom comes responsibility and comes consequences, right? So, I used that freedom. I enjoyed that freedom, but I also had consequences because I wasn't disciplined, right? So fast forward to where I am now, and really kind of go back a few months ago, and I really discovered this idea of mental programming. And I truly believe that anyone can reprogram their mind to do that which they want their mind to do. So let's say you want to lose weight. And we all know that the path to losing weight is either eating less, exercising more, or some combination of the two, right? This is not rocket science. This is not earth-shattering. We all know that this is really the path, right? For sustainable weight loss. Now, you can get weight loss surgery. You can get cool sculpting. You can starve yourself. And, there's all different kinds of like fad diets where you can lose weight in a short period of time. But in order to lose weight and keep it off, it's usually some combination of decreasing your caloric intake and increasing your activity, right? So if you're someone who finds themselves to be overweight, right, and you've kind of eaten one way your whole life, right? You've never really followed a diet. You've never really followed any kind of calorie restrictions or anything like that. It can be very difficult to all of a sudden turn on a dime and say, well, I'm just going to lose weight now. Because your mind has been basically practicing this one particular way of life for decades. How are you going to change your behavior? You have to reprogram your mind. And it's very simple. You basically have to send new instructions to your mind that you're going to eat within a structured diet. You're going to eat less calories than what you need on a daily basis. You're going to figure out how many calories you can have per day. And this is something that you can Google, or you can ask your doctor, right? And that's all of that is viable. But you're going to eat less calories than what you're supposed to have every day. And then you're going to increase your activity and basically create what's called a calorie deficit. And that calorie deficit is what's going to take care of the excess weight. Now, you're not going to lose 50 pounds a month this way, right? You're probably going to lose more like 5-10 pounds at the most per month. But two things. Number one, most physicians will tell you that you should only be losing between 1 to 2 pounds a week, right? Now, if you're overweight by a lot, then you're going to probably lose that weight faster in the beginning because you have more to lose. But over time, you're going to find that if you're losing weight in a healthy way, you're losing it between 1 to 2 pounds a week, which is perfectly normal. And not only normal, it's recommended. So you begin to reprogram your mind to eat better and to exercise more consistently. Now, you might say that sounds easier said than done. The execution of it may be a little difficult at first, but if you reprogram the mind will send new instructions to the rest of your body that, hey, this is what we're going to do. Like, we're going to eat less, right? So when you sit down and maybe before you would eat, 2 extra value meals, right? Or you had an extra value meal and you had a milkshake and you had a cookie and all this other stuff. And now, because you reprogrammed your mind, you're sitting down, you're eating a salad and you're drinking water and you're not eating super late and you're not eating more than you should. Because a lot of people eat because of emotional reasons. They eat because, food is like entertainment, right? Food can be like a community thing. So, you may not be hungry, but you may be around family and friends that are eating and you just decide, okay, I'm just going to eat again, but you weren't really hungry. So, that extra food is more than likely going to get turned into fat, which makes you heavier, right? So my point is, and I'm not a physician, so anything medically related, you want to run it by your health care provider. But my point is that if you can reprogram the mind to eat better and to exercise more, the chances are you're going to lose weight. Now, obviously, there are other factors within losing weight. There's metabolic factors, there's hormonal factors, there's, the thyroid issue that some people have, right? This doesn't really deal with any of that. It just deals with your behavior, okay? And that's very important for you to understand, is that mental programming deals with behavior regulation, meaning that anywhere that your life is not working, there's usually a behavioral component associated with that. So if you're not getting anything done at work, or not getting as much done at work as you should be, it's probably like a behavior thing amongst other things, right? It might be some coworkers, might be some managers, but at the end of the day, if it's your job and if it's your work, there's a piece of it that belongs to you. And that's what programming really deals with. It deals with your part in whatever the problem is. I'm not trying to fix anybody else. I'm just fixing me, and fixing me means fixing my behavior, right? The way that I behave, the way that I act is a big part of my results. It's not the only part, but it's a big part. So what I'm proposing is helping people basically reprogram their mind so they can do the things that maybe they've been trying to do, but they can't do or haven't been able to do because, the power of habit. Like, we've been doing something habitually for so long. Like I said, it can be difficult to just turn on a dime. So I'm very excited to announce that I'm going to be releasing some mental programming audios very soon. Probably by the end of the month, the end of November, I'm going to release 2 mental programming audios, one on stress relief, and the other on financial management, money management. And I'm very excited for you to hear it. I'm very excited for you to do it. And what I'm going to basically tell you is that, these are audios that are not very long. They're probably like 2-3 minutes long. But if you listen to them over and over again, you will begin to start changing the nature of your mind surrounding that subject. So if you weren't doing a budget before, the idea is that after you listen to these things over and over again, and this is something that I believe you should listen to at least 10 times a day, and you can listen to it while you're, working, while you're exercising. I would rather you not do it while you're driving or operating heavy equipment, but, just sitting in a chair and listening to it. Walking is really good because, you're focused on walking and whatnot. So a lot of what I'm saying in these audios is going to go straight to your subconscious mind. And basically these are like positive programming sentences that are basically going to reprogram your mind to do the things that you should be doing. And maybe don't know that you should be doing all of it, but certainly when you start to hear it, it'll make a lot of sense. And so I'm excited to share that with you. Go to my website, guidedexpressions.com/products with an S, and you will be able to pre-order the audios. There's one up there now for meditation and stress relief. That'll be ready by the end of the month. And then that money management one will also be ready at the end of the month as well. And I hope that you purchase both. I think they'll be more than worth what you will spend because of the results that you will get. So I want to thank you so much for listening and tuning in to the podcast. Don't forget to subscribe to the podcast. Please like, comment, subscribe, and share. And I will talk to you soon. Don't forget to subscribe to the Under Construction podcast on Spotify, YouTube, Apple Podcasts, and SoundCloud. For more information on Goddard Expressions courses and products, go to goddardexpressions.com/products.